All right, guys. Do us a favor. Click the thumbs up video. Leave any cool comments you want to, or leave any comments complaining that you want to. That's completely up to you. It's a free country. Do what you want to do. We are here to talk about the MLB DFS slate for the main slate on the 9th of May. We're going to do a members-only video free to the public today, and we'll hit you with some NBA a little bit later on. So first thing y'all got to do today, double-check that weather, because we already got Cleveland, and I like Ross right up today. Holy smokes, that's not going to happen. Already been delayed. And two of the pitchers that I liked when I started looking through this slate were Maeda and Boyd, and they look like they're going to be tough guys to play too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that at least with that game, we should know. That said, like yesterday, I don't know if you played the early slate. Like we had a similar situation with the Yankees and Max Scherzer. Ended up playing that game like 4 hours later, and Scherzer was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, when I opened up that slate yesterday, I wanted to play Scherzer because, I don't know. If you guys watch the show, you know I probably always want to play Scherzer. But I didn't use them because I wasn't sure. And I like Boyd and Maeda, but honestly, for SP2, I'll probably end up on Kyle Hendricks because, one, the game actually looks clean. Two, it's premier pitching weather in Chicago today. It's cold with 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing in. Plays like a pitcher's park.
Yeah, I got a couple guys I'm interested in. Starting at the top, with DeGrom.
What do you know about this DeGrom guy? Is he any good?
Yeah, he's pretty good. So I don't think we have to spend too much time on him. He's the best pitcher in baseball. He's in a great spot against Arizona. I think you start with him in all your optimal lines. I mean, he's definitely a fade at your own risk, even in large field tournaments. I think you can do a lot worse than just plugging him in all your lines. The next guy I'm really looking at, though, I don't know if you're going to feel similar to me, is Alcantara.
I wasn't specifically going to use him because of the price point.
Fair enough.
I think the matchup is solid. Milwaukee got going yesterday. They had a nice offensive day, but we know that, missing a bunch of their best hitters, they're not a very good lineup, and they strike out plenty. Nice parts about this game, it's domed, so weather isn't an issue. It's a big old ballpark. The fact there was 3 home runs yesterday, it's not normal for a ballpark. Side note, did you see that Hauser took Castano yard yesterday?
No, I didn't see that.
So that's this. Adrian Hauser now has 2 career home runs in the bigs. Both of them have come up with Dan Castano in his last 2 starts.
That's hilarious.
That hasn't happened. The same pitcher hasn't taken the same pitcher yard twice, like in the same season since like Bronson Arroyo did it like 20 years ago or something.
Wow, that's a name from the past. I'm with you. Like Alcantara is too expensive. I just like him a lot and feel real good with him. So no, I don't think he's going to get you like 30 plus. But I feel damn good he gets you around 20 here.
I mean, it's a good spot. I have no issues with Alcantara except for that his price point is difficult to pair with DeGrom.
Definitely, no doubt about it. And clearly DeGrom is the priority. I'm with you.
Yeah, he's so good. I mean, we were talking about your boy Bieber and my boy Burns early in the year, and then we really started looking at DeGrom even a little bit deeper. Like, you know what? He's just been around for so long. I just forgot how amazing this guy is.
Yeah, I mean, his stretch right now is up there with the best ever.
Yeah. So I really liked Maeda and Matt Boyd, and I'm sure the weather will keep everybody off of them. So if you want to be ballsy and wait for it, do your thing. But the other 2 guys I'm kind of interested in are Adam Wainwright, and I know you. So I've made a big deal about his home to road splits over the past 5 years. Surprise, surprise, he's averaging 8 more points at home this year. And you've regularly talked about his day to night splits. Well, It's a day game at home against a bad baseball team. I can get on board with Adam Wainwright, who's been, I don't know, the ERA is not stellar, but a lot of that's from last start. He's been solid most of the year.
Yeah, as long as he's getting some Ks, we don't care about that ERA. So, man, I'm with you. He's definitely in play here. What I was going to say about Maeda and Boyd, I feel like if you can, especially because you like both of them, like I could see playing one lineup with both of them, because
not load up on offense.
Yeah, and I mean because you're already taking the risk with one of them if their game doesn't play, might as well just go all out.
I agree, and as much as we love DeGrom and he's a lock for any optimal lineup, he has 12K now, and he's got a bunch of these monster performances, but he's also got a full career of starts in the mid-20s, right?
Right.
And that's a good start, but you can win without that. If let's just say Boyd gets you 15 and Maeda gets you 15. I mean, they're a lot less expensive than DeGrom.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm with you 100% there.
So then we get down to where I do think a good number of people are going to end up, which is Kyle Hendricks, who is not having his normal year. However, if you take out Atlanta, he was really good against the Dodgers the other day. He's always been better at home. His premier pitching weather. He was really good against Milwaukee both times. You take out those Atlanta starts and the first one against Pittsburgh, and he's been solid.
Yeah, he wasn't good in that first start against Pittsburgh. He got shelled in those Atlanta starts. But, man, I'm a Hendricks fan. You got the really nice $6,900 price point. I
think that's huge here, right?
Yeah, nice in more ways than one. And then you got, I think he's the perfect pairing with DeGrom. I mean, I'm a Hendricks fan. I think he gets love, but man, I'm with you. Like, rock and roll.
I think this is going to end up being the chalk build. Once the numbers, if you looked at ownership percentages this morning, there was a bunch of guys who were going to get some attention. But once the weather plays out, and I think most people won't have the balls to play Maeda or Boyd, and I'm there with them because it's just a hard spot to take a chance.
There's other guys right there.
I do think Hendricks DeGrom ends up being the chalk build, and honestly, I feel pretty good about it.
Same. I will say one other guy that I actually thought you were going to mention, opposing Wainwright, and we don't want to name everyone, but Marquez got absolutely shelled last time out. Wasn't good to start before that against San Fran. I could see him having a nice bounce back here. He was really good the 2 starts before that. Not exactly sure what to make of him. And again, I probably don't land here, but my eye's on him today.
I get that. I'm a Marquez fan. You're a Marquez fan. I've played him enough times that he's been bad for me that my love for him is starting to waver.
Well, I feel that. Like, I'll say this. 2 years ago, he was a lot better than he's been since then. Like that, I can't remember if it was 2019. It must have been 2019 when he was, we used him a lot. He was like an ace.
Yeah, he had a 2 or 3 month stretch in the second half of the season where he was the best pitcher in baseball.
He hasn't been nearly that guy. So I'm with you. Like, he's inconsistent now.
Very much so. And, I like the idea against a right-handed heavy St. Louis team, but St. Louis is also playing good offense right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of options on this slate. I'm with you.
All right, so let's go start taking a look at offenses. My gut instinct is Boston's going to be pretty popular tonight, again, because their prices are criminally low. Like, why is Verdugo below 4K? JD's 5K, Bogart's 5K. Like, you can literally stack Boston, especially you got first baseman. As Chavez is leading off again at 2K. I just assume Boston's going to get some love today.
Oh, I couldn't agree anymore. I think they are like far and away the chalk.
Okay. Well, I agree. And I do also like them today. So if you want to be different in GPPs, let's start talking through some options. But they make a lot of sense. And even if you just want to stack somebody else, but say use a Chavez Bogarts or something like that, type of like mini stack or whatever it might be, like that I can understand too. Bogarts is having a hell of a year.
Yeah, he's having a monster year.
He's good. And, Devers is very, very affordable. JD, walked and hit in his later at-bats. And Verdugo is also a nice little player in sub 4K.
Yeah, I like Verdugo a lot. I'm thinking about when you said Chavis against a righty, I think Marwood will be back leading off. Who knows? Okay. Chavis was really good last night, but that was against a lefty, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he could easily make the lineup, though, too, after home run. Yeah. Maybe he's down to 7 hole. He's still 2K.
100% still in play.
I don't hate – if you want to throw in a bat or two against Pivetta, do your thing. I'm probably not looking to pick on Pivetta. I respect him. I don't fear him, though.
No, DJ Stewart hitting cleanup for 2.6K kind of reminds me of like Tyrone Taylor, like if you need it.
I can get on board with it. Now we get to Joe Ross versus Domingo Germán. So interesting matchup right here. Joe Ross has been mostly really good this year. However, I think St. Louis proved he's not, although he's got 4 really nice starts. But then the start he was bad, was he ever bad? So I can understand why like a Yank stack at probably pretty low ownership's appealing.
Yeah, I can understand a Yank stack here. I don't think they're like, on paper the best spot in the world, but they're always in play. Ross doesn't scare anyone.
New York's a great hitter's park.
Yeah, exactly.
Stand at home on a Sunday. I think I've brought this up before.
Yeah, for sure. Judge.
Judge, I meant.
Yeah.
Judge.
Okay, so now he's much cheaper than Stanton. So like the roles have flipped.
And he's kind of cold right now, so I'm just going to assume like Aaron Judge will be a pretty low-owned player. it's hard to look at like recency, his price, the matchup, and be like, this is where I got to go with my big money today. Like, what do you think JD Martinez's ownership is compared to Judge? Like 15-1?
Something like that.
Okay. So I think Martinez is the better play, but purely based on ownership, like you could do a lot worse.
For sure.
How about your boy Soto?
Yeah, I was looking at him under 5K. I mean, I respect Herman, but he's another one of these guys I don't think you're crazy to use a bat or two against, and Soto's elite.
The Turner Soto mini stack is one that, barring facing, division rival Jacob DeGrom, I'm always a little interested in.
Same.
But I think this isn't my spot today, although I can get the arguments for a bunch of players in it.
I agree with that.
All right, next up, we got Milwaukee against Miami. We got Anderson coming back from the IL. We got Alcantara, who we kind of touched on already. Milwaukee had themselves a nice game yesterday, broke out of their little losing streak. You're probably more excited about Alcantara than I am, but I'm certainly not trying to get out of my way to play Brewers bats.
Yeah, I think that that's a fair assessment.
I don't know. There's probably nobody in this game I'm specifically trying to get to. Like Brian Anderson at 3,600 against the lefty. Like, all right, I understand it. He's not having a great season, but he's kind of looks like he's primed for a breakout one of these days.
Yeah, I mean, you could do worse. It's not. I mean, I can't see myself landing on this spot particularly, but I mean.
Yeah, it's really difficult to like load up on games in Miami unless you love it, because like even like last night, like man, there was 3 home runs, but you got to just get a hold of it. It's just not a game where you usually get 5 or 6 bombs.
Yeah, I can pretty much guarantee I won't be stacking this game.
All right, next up, Arizona against the Mets. What about Arizona's stack? Nobody's going to use it. Oh yeah, it's for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
What about your Mets today?
I mean, I'll tell you what, Francisco Lindor, like right back in play.
Yep. Another game again yesterday. I mean, again, I still feel like this is one of our better calls that we ever had the other day when to play Lindor against Zach Gallen. He looks like a guy who's got the monkey off his back. We know he's still an elite player. Had a rough start to the year, but he's rolling now, sub 5K. There's nothing scary about the Arizona pitching staff today.
No, I actually kind of like the Mets today.
I can get on board with the Mets, and you're often on board with the Mets, and I'm not. I could go Team Bellman today and play some Mets.
Yeah, more I'm thinking about it, I will say this. Aside from Boston, it's another one of these slates. I think Boston stands out like head and shoulders as the top stack on paper. So after that, I think that you're probably going to get pretty good ownership on everyone else.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I don't think like Lindor and Alonso, those guys are like 1%.
No.
But I mean, like 5 to 10 maybe?
So 2 nights ago, they were 1%. 2 nights ago, Lindor was 1%. I'm going to check last night what he was. I'm sure it was like 5%, something like that.
I'm going to go with 7.
Okay. 9.5%. Obviously, it depends on like where you're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's a $15 tourney. So say 5 to 10%. I think today he's like 15%.
Yeah. I mean, we all know the name. This guy's been one of
10
baseball's best players for years now, and just the fact that he had a bad start, now he's playing better. I do think the Mets are a team I'll take a look at. I'm just going to ignore Minnesota and Detroit for right now. I was more interested in the pitchers anyways. Greinke against the Blue Jays. Look, I'm not a huge Zach Greinke fan, but I do respect him. This probably isn't the day like I go in on the Blue Jays, but we've seen them get to good pitching. They're a huge upside stack. I don't think they get a lot of love today going up against an 11K pitcher. If you want to get crazy with it, not where I would end up, but I can respect the audacity and the balls to make that play. Yeah,
I mean, even last night mentioned them, like they're the type of team that's in play in spots that other teams aren't in play. And last night, like Biggio's now hot. Like they got hitters up and down their lineup. I used him as a one-off last night. Like he's now red hot, and he's freaking good. Like
I'm so mad. I thought about bringing him up on the show yesterday because I saw the 3-hit game and then a walk and a hit. I'm like, this guy's a good player. He's about to get going. He's 3,100. I'm on board today, especially like this. He can complement a Boston stack with this one because it'll help with the salary cap and everything like that.
Yeah, he's good. He's hitting the middle of that lineup. So I don't really want to stack Toronto here, but I'm with you. Like, I mean, I'm not afraid to use a couple guys against Greinke, and Toronto beats up on good pitching. So I think you could do a lot worse than stacking Toronto.
Yeah, and Zach Greinke is still a decent pitcher, but like this isn't Zach Greinke from 7 years ago. Like he can be got.
And the other thing is like what you talked about with Miami and Milwaukee, like home runs win stuff, and Toronto hits home runs, so they can go on a stretch even if they get a bullpen guy and hit 5 home runs in an inning. Like any team could, but Toronto has legit guys that can do that.
And they run a little bit. Not a lot of teams run, as you like to point out. So again, if I set a lot of lineups, I would get some Toronto stacks in there. It wouldn't be like an overwhelming amount, but I'm just going to assume they will get lower owned today. They're expensive because they're always expensive, but Vlad, Simeon's a guy we brought up the other day at 4,500, has upside. Biggio's very affordable, but I'm a big Bo Bichette fan. I think Randall Grichuk's overrated. Teoscar Hernandez is another guy with power.
Yeah, this lineup's good, man. I mean, they got power up and down. They got power for days. They really do. I mean, up and down their lineup. Even guys like Gurriel. This game is definitely appealing from an offensive side. I see Houston getting quite a bit of love, too.
I was just going to say, looking at this, I'm going to assume that Houston is probably the second most popular team on the slate.
They're coming in like right next to Boston.
Makes a lot of sense.
Is going to be real popular.
Yeah, and Bregman is hot now, and he's very, very affordable at 4,800. Like, if you had to ask me, I'd probably go Bregman over Rafael Devers, just if I could only play like a one-off.
I think Bregman-Alvarez combo is highly popular here.
Okay, so in cash games, like Alvarez is one of those guys that it's like when he's hot like this, it's hard not to play him in your cash game because he can ruin the slate by himself.
And he just doesn't have power. Like, he's a good hitter, like real good hitter.
Hence the 347 batting average. So if you're playing cash games today, guys, I would mix and match as much Houston and Boston as I can.
Agreed.
All right, White Sox against the Kansas City Royals. We got Giolito versus Mike Minor.
One thing, and I've been thinking about this, I wanted to get to this game. I'm surprised you haven't even mentioned Giolito yet. I feel like that's your boy.
I mean, I don't know how you play him today. Like, I need money. And, I mean, if I had to bet on him to outscore Kyle Hendricks, I don't mind that bet, but I need that $2,500 for my offense.
Fair enough.
And I'm not playing Giolito over DeGrom. It's not crazy that Giolito could have his best day and outscore him, but my money.
I do think there's good cheaper options, but people love Giolito. I think that assuming there's cheap offensive pieces to spend on, Giolito will be paired with DeGrom a decent amount.
Yeah, I'm with you. I get it.
That's not for me at all, but I think it will happen.
No, he's coming in as one of the more popular pitchers on the day. He hasn't broken a slate yet this year, but he is capable of doing that.
100%.
What about a touch of the White Sox against Mike Minor, who's been very blah this year? And we got a couple of guys in the White Sox who hit lefties very well, including Tim Anderson, who always goes under-owned, it seems like.
Yeah, the 1-2 yesterday, they had Tim Anderson and Nick Madrigal at like 2,700 at second base. I mean, yeah, like the 1-2 right again. I could get on board with it. Actually, Abreu too. I think he had a nice game yesterday.
Abreu's showing signs right here, right? Back-to-back games, the double walked yesterday. Calling the Abreu home run today.
The only thing I don't like about Chicago is that they scored 8 runs in the first yesterday and only 1 after that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not that, like, oh my God, like they only scored 8. They scored 8 runs in the first. I'll take 8 runs in any inning today, but you know how that goes. Like, I mean, maybe they're still not playing that great. They just had 1 good inning.
Possible. I'm not going to all-out stack Chicago, but like I could do an Abreu Anderson stack.
They're another one of these teams. I mean, they got power, and I think you're right. They come in low owned.
Yeah, I mean, we're both Tim Anderson guys too, right? Like he is still one of the more underappreciated baseball players.
Yeah, I love him.
Okay. Marquez versus Wainwright. I think Wainwright is option 3 for me on pitching today, but I'm not going to throw Marquez. I don't think I get to offenses in this game at all.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, with the way Marquez has pitched recently, I think that you could look at a piece or two from Colorado. They finally won't get love, and they are playing well. But
yeah, if you have Harrison Bader, who's been knocking the ball at the ballpark lately, and is 2,800, I don't hate that.
Ooh, if Matt Carpenter makes the lineup, I know I've been talking about him a bunch. I will say, like, he's just like a bench player for them now. But if he makes the lineup, I like him.
Yeah. Okay, I think we feel almost exactly the same about this game. Next up, we got Pittsburgh against Chicago. I got Tyler Anderson.
That's your boy. This is really your boy.
Tyler Anderson's another one that, like, I'm going to throw Kyle Hendricks, but at the same price, don't be surprised if Tyler Anderson matches him or outscores him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's got a blow-up start coming.
Probably. Chris Bryant has owned Tyler Anderson in his career, and Bryant's having himself a hell of a season. If it wasn't for 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing in, and you need home runs when your guy's 6K, I would be looking at Chris Bryant because he's really having a bounce-back year.
Yeah, he is.
But it takes a lot to get the ball out in Wrigley when the wind nuts wrong.
Yeah, I mean, they're just so expensive. Like, it's hard to get to the Cubs today. And then, man, another game, like, saw it last night. Like,
yeah, I ended up with Dylan Moore, Luis Torrens, and Garcia in my lineup last night. And they are all on my good side right now.
And I stacked Seattle. Used Kyle Seager, who was really good. Freaking Kyle Lewis, who's, like, really starting to see the ball well. Yeah, I like 2 walks and 2 singles yesterday. I like Seattle again. Dunning is another one of these guys. Surprised he's so cheap. We didn't talk about him either.
Yeah, I could understand pitching Dane Dunning here because
Same.
I'm kind of with you. We brought up this game yesterday. We said this game's a total wild card. We can see 2-1, 12-11, anything in the middle of that. And I think, what was it, 9-8?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 8-9, 9-8. It was a good game for offense. And I used to touch a bit with Boston, and they're on my good side after that. So I can see both sides of the equation in this game, but I'd probably be more likely to end up on a few offensive pieces.
Offenses went off last night. Like, I used the Mariners and the Dodgers, and I wasn't even close to cashing with the Dodgers until they got, like, the last, like, 4 runs. Like, because I had, like, the extra guys. There was, like, Boston was amazing. Seattle and Texas both went off. Gallo homered twice. You mentioned Garcia. Like, the offenses were just really good yesterday. Chicago at that big inning.
Definitely. You can get me right back on board with this game.
Same. I mean, then another one. I got to assume Chris Davis is going to be in the lineup tonight. I think he pinch hit and walked yesterday. Maybe he singled. Yeah. This gets me excited, man. I know he's, like, usually better against righties, but he's got power for days at 3,400. I think he makes the lineup today. I like this game again.
Yeah, I can definitely get on board with this game right here.
I do feel like, though, as of right now, Dunning is better than Sheffield. At least I think his stuff is better. I think they're similar, probably, talent, but I feel better about going against Sheffield. Any take there?
Sheffield's coming off a monster start for him, and then mostly not been great this year.
He was pretty good in that Dodgers start. I will say that. I watched him.
I don't have a strong take about him one way or the other.
Fair enough. And I kind of feel the same about Dunning. Like, I could see him being good here. I could see Seattle hitting him. These offenses definitely similar to yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I do think, like, if I'm setting one lineup today, it's going to be it's going to be my favorite plays from Boston and Houston, and then mismatched with some cheaper guys from this game.
Yeah, I get that. Talked about, like, the White Sox a little bit. Who else was looking at the Yankees a little bit, maybe. I like this game. One spot, I just want to touch on it real quick. That I was surprised that you like Matt Boyd. If that game ends up going, I'm surprised you don't like some Twins.
Matt Boyd's been a little bit different. That Twins lineup is just not as appealing right now without Buxton. Like,
yeah,
Garlick, Larnick. I don't even know. I've never even heard of him prior today. Donaldson, I think, is coming off one of his better days of the season, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he's been starting to get going. So
it's like if Boyd can get through the Donaldson Cruz like duo, like, he should cruise. But if he can't, then those guys aren't play against him. But I definitely get your point on Boyd.
Yeah, I watched his first start this year. And the Detroit announcers were talking about some offseason changes that he made. So I kind of watched him very closely over the next 5 starts, and I'm like, this guy's pitching really, really well. He's pitching a lot less strikeouts, but he's getting a lot of weak contact. As you can see by the hits allowed, he's not walking anybody. So I just really wasn't that interested in picking on him.
I actually used him in that start against Minnesota earlier this year. I am wondering what happened in that Chicago start because then he's been hurt since then.
Yeah, without having watched that game, it seems like your classic velocity was probably down in the first inning and they noticed something was wrong and they yanked his ass real quick.
Yeah, so I'd be hesitant to go back there today. I mean, aside from the weather.
Yeah, I don't like these guys enough.
Right. I would like Maeda probably enough.
Sure, he definitely looked like himself last time up.
Like if this game had no weather issues, I mean, I think that Maeda might be the pairing with DeGrom. Hendricks might still be, but I also think that you can make a strong case for spending down on Maeda and Hendricks.
Sure. I was looking at Maeda really closely before I popped open the weather report and saw that, and that was just enough for me not to even risk it because, who knows, right?
Well, I was just going to say, we talk about it a lot. Like DFS is all about pricing. You mentioned it with DeGrom. He's now priced up. He's not as expensive as he should be.
Where he should be.
Right. You think he's right where he should be?
I know. He used to be 12.5. You should really, really have to think about Jacob DeGrom.
Right.
I complained about it yesterday with Russell Westbrook and mentioned Jacob DeGrom in the same light. When you were getting DeGrom at 10-3 or whatever he was, that Friday night Washington start where he was 10-9, 10-3 against Miami, I'm like, how do you not play him?
Exactly. So now that he's 11-7, he's still not, overpriced, but he's priced up from what he was. And you've got Maeda and Hendricks, who I think are too cheap. Both of them are $1,000 too cheap for what they should be in this spot. You can make a rational case for just using them, assuming the weather was good in Detroit, which it probably won't be. But when the pricing is like that, that's when I think you can make a case for getting off these top guys.
Sure. I mean, we used to see starting pitchers up over 12K.
I mean, I expect, again, it's not going to happen because the game probably won't play. But if Maeda was pitching in good weather and Hendricks and these guys were all in basically the good weather spots, I expect 20 from Maeda and from Hendricks. From DeGrom, I expect close to 30. I mean, yeah, I'd rather have DeGrom. I expect around 30. Of course, I'd rather have DeGrom, but the price difference is real.
The problem with DeGrom comes down to the same thing with a couple of these elite pitchers, which is he good or is he great? Because when he's great and he
gets
drops
45.
Right? He's got a 58, a 43, and a 41 back-to-back-to-back. 3 of his 5 starts this year have been great. And when he goes for 43 at 70% ownership, good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already 25 points behind now, even if you get a decent start out of your guy.
And your 20 from Maeda doesn't mean anything. And if you get 12, you're done.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the hard part about fading the guys. But at least once you get to 12K price range, you start really needing to think about it a little bit more.
It's rare when these pitchers break the slate, but they do it. And you have to have them when they do it.
Yeah. Your boy Bieber regularly broke the slate last year, right? He's been giving up runs this year. The strikeouts are still there. But so he hasn't had as many of those. But how many times last year did Shane Bieber have 35 plus where you absolutely had to have him?
Even in a kind of a different, we talk about the strikeouts a lot. Even yesterday during the day slate, Glasnow got hit. I mean, he gave up 3 runs early. He gave up a bunch of hits, but he struck out 11 still. So he ended up with 25 plus.
Yeah, DK over rewards the strikeout. We've whined and complained about this for years, but it's, it is the scoring system that we have. So, I don't know. You just run with it. And that's why it's so hard to fade a guy like DeGrom who can punch out 14 on any given day.
DeGrom's going to crush today. I mean, it's just what it is.
He always crushes. He's amazing. But, does he crush or does he crush? That's the hard
does
part.
He 30 or does he get 45?
Right? So, I don't know. Y'all get it. Anyway, we'll let you go. Lineups need to be set and everything like that. Thanks for watching. Membership's available at the website below, and I'll talk to you guys about NBA in a couple hours.
Thanks, guys.